Alrighty, we're back for game number 3. This is MNM taking on Barrage, two of the kind of older teams here in the UK scene. I mean, you've coached one of these teams and you've coached a few of these players. Talk me through it.
Yeah, I mean, I've worked with players on both sides. Aragon and KZ very early on in his career, and of course, Aragon last split. And of course, Harry, the only remaining member from the summer MNMA roster coming back in, and even Regan actually from a really long time ago and a little more recent too. But hey, it's that old clash of Barrage versus MNM. It's always one for me to personally look forward to. I've always kind of seen, Barrage as the direct competitor just because it's Barrage. And there's always been that sort of, for fun Twitter beef. But yeah, it's definitely going to be a really exciting matchup, especially with Barrage sort of on the up in recency, finally finding some wins for themselves. And especially also yesterday, they had that very impressive win there too. And MNM honestly coming off the back of a pretty one-sided, I'm just going to call it as it really was, a stomp into London. So both these teams kind of on a hot streak right now. Yeah. And clashing at a very important moment in the split where it's only one game between them, where MNM are 3-2 and Barrage are 2-3. A win for Barrage will tie them up in the standings. And then we start moving into those 3-day weeks where, momentum can be really, really important.
Might be a little bit longer before we get into the champ select. Unfortunately, we are having a few technical issues and we're just looking to iron them out. So oh no, it wasn't, don't worry. Our observer's, he's baiting me, if I'm gonna be honest. No, I'm not, don't worry.
Okay.
I don't know why I read production text, if I'm gonna be honest with you, Jamada. I always get caught off guard by it.
Yeah, this sometimes production chat can bait you, but sorry, Harry said something very hilarious in chat, which I'm not going to repeat on broadcast, but it's not like I couldn't. But yeah, it's a fun matchup. I think players across the board honestly match up really well. Aragon versus DBL, of course, DBL coming out of the UKEL, and I also believe before that University Leagues, and he's taken Aragon's spot. Right, this is Aragon's old team in that sense, and Harry probably too looking forward to playing another UKD, and not only that, trying to beat his old top laner. So there's a lot of mini sort of rivalries here, and even Regan and KZ were a very old pairing in the UKEL and lower tiers of play. So a lot of players familiar with each other. And it's honestly, even Thomas Go and Regan played together on Absolved. So there's a lot of connections here on both sides. There you go.
Players who've been around for a while, players who've played with each other on and off for a while. It's gonna be an exciting game. I think there's a lot of personality in this game, just from the people playing. So looks like our issues are resolved. And we're gonna be getting into champ select. There we go.
All right, there
I can not speak. It's been a long couple of weeks for me. I've been doing
you've been on the grind,
a lot of shouting for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, you really have. You've been working hard here, Brain. You've been working really hard. So
feeling it. Right. I can't wait to get into this game, to be honest. So we can talk about that. I've been kind of checking up on what's going on in production, hence why I'm looking all over the place. But it looks like the issues were on our observer's side and not on the player's side. So I was an idiot. Right, we're getting ready to go into game. The Pantheon is going to be the first ban away, followed up by the Udyr. King did obviously play that in the last game.
Yeah, so not trying to let King get his hands on that Udyr, and of course we also saw Pantheon slip through in an MNM game where Tyrex honestly kind of took over the game a little bit on that pick. So we're not going to see the Pantheon here today. Also going to see the Thresh removed away from Regan. So a little bit of respect shown to him, as Thresh isn't commonly banned out these days, but he is still something where if you don't have much to ban out in a game, just say, hey, let's throw out the Thresh ban.
I'm surprised that they're banning the Thresh under that circumstance. It's not like there isn't a lot of things that kind of need banning at the moment.
It could also be a sense of maybe Barrage feel like they want to leave a lot of these stronger picks open so they can trade, particularly during the first phase of picks. So you never really know exactly what goes through the minds of the players and the staff until you really get to sit down with them. We are going to see the Seraphine actually removed away though on the Barrage side, which is again another champion we saw Tyrex honestly have a bit of a belter on.
We've seen the Talia being the kind of other band, but it's the Hecarim this time. Barrage either looking for the Graves or the Talia for themselves.
Yeah.
See what King is fancying, because I'm expecting this to be a jungle lock-in here for the side of Barrage.
Yeah, it's likely to be that Talia. But I like I said, I feel like that KZ's Kai'Sa. We saw him yesterday really pop off on it, so I'm not too surprised to see him pick that one up. And especially it's also a pick that Harry has also favored quite a bit. And with the Thresh band there, it also does kind of mean that the Aphelios pickup into the Kai'Sa is a little less safe than it would traditionally be. So I'm liking this opening from Barrage in that sense. Does still leave up the options of things like the Xayah, which can match Kai'Sa in lane more so. And I mean, honestly, Kazuro could just pick up the Talia for himself or the Graves, both champions we've seen him play to pretty solid success. So really up to MNM how they want to round out this opening pick phase here.
I got very excited for a minute, and then I remembered that champion just doesn't exist. The Alistar actually getting picked up here. It's nice because it obviously gives you some pretty solid engage and some pretty good fighting and skirmishing in the lane, but also it's nice because it's a denial pick. Alistar plus Kai'Sa is a really disgusting lane, and you don't want to deal with that. So we'll see what the answer is going to be. For the moment, Aragon's going to get his hands onto his Aatrox. We might just see the likes of a Nautilus again locked in with a Kai'Sa. We could also see Braum's quite good into Kai'Sa. Xayah, sorry.
I would really love the Braum here because it shuts down the Alistar engages. You can deal with the feathers, and then also it kind of dissuades. Oh my goodness. Okay, we're getting a Taric lock in. Okay, KDO. So this is going to be something real special. So we'll talk about that. I just want to quickly see what MNM actually decide to round out with, because it could change some talking points surrounding this Taric. But of course, in lane can do a really good job at sort of dissuading the engages, because, you know, if you see the headbutt pulverize coming, you've got that, I forget what the W is called, but you've got the bind down on Kai'Sa. You just press the dazzle key, press E, and all of a sudden you've got these two line stuns where Alistar normally gets stunned up because he can't really walk out properly, and we are just going to see the Talia locked in. So okay, Taric pick does really set up for a lot of potential interesting things here for this Barrage draft. If they are going to sort of go down this diving route, which with the Aatrox and with the Kai'Sa they're more likely to do, Taric actually has so much value in these diving compositions, because you can just go under any tower you feel like. It doesn't really matter. Towers aren't really a thing anymore with Taric in the game once you have that ultimate available. So MNM are going to have to actually pay some respect to this pick and to the dive. We're going to see the Fizz respect ban, which is, it says a lot really. And honestly, if they're going down this respect route, I wouldn't be too surprised to see Barrage throw out a Kled ban too, because we've seen DBL play it. I think specifically, I'm not sure if it was into the Aatrox or not, but Kled historically has a pretty fine time dealing with the Aatrox because of the grievous wounds. And we are also going to see the Kindred removed away, which I think is a very, very smart ban. When you've got the invulnerability of the Taric, pairing that up with the Lambsdor Spike can be really oppressive.
Yeah, but expect something like the Graves realistically to be the lock picking at this point.
Yeah.
Keep our eyes on what they're going to go for. Probably first rotation here is going to be in this top side. Get something to deal with Aragon. It is going to be the Renekton for DBL, and now the counter pick for the mid lane for MNM. Unless that's a mid lane Talia, which
it would be nice. I don't think it would work well here. Yeah, I mean, Thomas probably going to default to something like the Victor. I don't think there's much harm in going down that route, though the Oriana's actually slipped through, which could provide a little more utility for this composition. But no, the Hover seems to be the Victor, and it will be locked in. So, okay, I don't want to get too excited, but I did want to say if Barrage want to round out this comp, they are going to need some engage, and something like Zac can go unpunished into the likes of a Talia if the lane matchups are stable enough, which currently they seem to be. However, they are just going to go for the tried and true, the very boring Graves. So no elastic slingshots. You don't get to cast Zac today, I'm afraid.
No Zac for me, but we'll move over to MNM. I would say, we might get something spicy in the mid lane, but like I said, the Oriana's open, so I'm kind of expecting this just to be Tyrex locking in on Oriana. It's fine into the Victor. It has good wave clear. It's got good team fighting. Don't play him up with my heart, Tyrex. Oh my god, they did.
He's doing it.
It's the Aurelia. Okay, cool. This game's gonna be so fun. Cool, I'm excited.
This is why there's a lot of AD, but they've got the Talia to mix up some of that damage, and Talia honestly is quite happy being the sole AP threat a lot of the time. Much like other AP junglers like Karthus, for example. So honestly, this is why I'm such a big fan of watching MNM. Not because I'm an ex-member, but their drafts are just so consistently wacky and wild, or they're always picking champs that aren't really on the forefront of the meta, and Aurelia is just another one of those champions where, you know, Tyrek's just throwing down the gauntlet, and this is actually a champion too that Thomas Go plays, and I think he's had a game on it this split too, so this is going to be really curious to track, because this is going to be a matchup that Thomas Go is going to be very familiar with too, and it's going to be the first time that we see Tyrex actually pilot the champion as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've been complaining to the MNM guys about how I think the meta's kind of boring in the UKLC, and they agree with me, and clearly they've taken my advice and they're going to shake things up. I am really excited to see how this Aurelia does into Victor. Obviously, Victor pretty immobile, and that's what you got to keep in mind. You land that flawless duet, and Victor could be in for a whole world of hurt. So this could be an interesting lane. Get the flawless jet into the seismic shove, and you're probably going to die if you're Thomas Go. So keep our eyes on that. But there is a pretty spicy lock-in for Barrage with the fact they got the Tarek in the bot lane to keep them alive. Aatrox has mad life steal on top of the fact they'll have the Cosmic Radiance to keep them alive.
Yeah.
This could honestly be some very long and scrappy team fights.
Yeah, and one thing I would actually like to draw our minds back to is, I believe, week 1, where Barrage actually had the same solo lane setup that MNM currently hold, where they had their Renekton, they have the Aurelia. And one of the key things that was kind of an issue for Barrage is they were never able to find good fights because they kept on approaching these fights, you know, as if they were running a bog standard front-to-back team competition. They weren't. And I feel like this is the same case for MNM here, where they're going to have Kazuro, Harry, and Regan kind of in this bundle together, where they want to play sort of back, let Barrage try and come into them. And then Renekton, DBL, Tyrex on this Aurelia, they need to find flank angles onto these carries, Kaze and Thomas Go. And that's how they'll primarily find success, especially with this Tarek there, approaching fights and giving maximum reaction time to Tarek to just press the R key. It's not going to yield the highest % chance of positive results. So I really want to see Renekton and Aurelia and just MNM in general set up for their solo lanes to have these strong flank angles.
Yeah, I genuinely think we're in for a very, very exciting game between MNM and Barrage. We did expect that looking at the matchups for today. We thought Envision and Demise was going to be the boring game, and we were wrong.
And it wasn't,
so
kind of.
let's just keep this trend going. Let's go spicy. Let's go explosive. We are onto the Rift, though, and we're getting ready to go into our third game of the day. This is MNM versus Barrage. And yeah, I'm curious to see how this early game is going to go and where the jungle attention is going to be.
Yeah, so I mean, there's so much to talk about in this game because all of the matchups are so interesting. I will focus on the junglers because we've spoken a little bit about the solo laners. We've spoken about the bottom side of the map in the supports. Focusing on the junglers, Taliyah Graves, I don't know if we've actually had this jungle matchup prop up just because of how frequently Taliyah is actually banned away. But this can be a matchup where Graves can kind of be abusive to the Taliyah. But if he's not really able to find really early invades where Taliyah is still vulnerable, Taliyah can be fine. But it's definitely a matchup where Graves can look to sort of get up into Taliyah's face. However, you have to be worried about the combo of what is most likely going to be lane priority for the solo laners of MNM in the early stages, into getting CC'd and then obviously comboed down by the Unraveled Earth and the Seismic Shove. So
It'd be an interesting jungle matchup.
It's a really interesting jungle matchup to kind of track, especially if King wants to go down the more aggressive route, which in this meta, normally we see junglers, particularly the Graves players, sort of stick to the close to full clear routes.
I'm sad. Since we've seen the High Ninja Aurelia come out, people only ever run that skin anymore.
I mean, it is a nice looking skin on the splash. Yeah, the splash is nice, but the in-game model is not, you know, the best. But what I'm saying is, if I'm flaming it, I think it's obviously
I'm a really big fan of Aviator.
Oh yeah, I like that.
I think that's such an underrated skin. It's one of those cheap one, cheerful ones, but it's a really nice skin. Splash shot's amazing.
Yeah, I do agree. Here we go. Gonna see a lot of this dashing forward. Tomsko already doing his best to get some harass down onto Tyrex, but you can see the power of the aura to Thomas.
Wow.
Yeah, so you can see a lot of trade power back because of the Q start from Thomas Go, but Aurelia, once she has that passive stacked up, honestly, her aura attack deals so much damage. The passive also gives her a little more attack speed too, just to boot, because why not, as DBL's going to eat a couple of sweet spots in that top side. So many explosive matchups potentially here. So we're kind of getting a brief look at all of them. Not sure who's quite in the lead for this level 2. I think it's Barrage. They should just ding it now. Just gonna do a little bit of zoning, but MNM only one creep away, but they are going to give up the priority. No crazy level 2, level 3 there. As junglers mirroring each other's clear too. Both currently on the chicken camp. As Harry going to get stunned up.
Being thrown down. KDO low. The exhaust has been thrown out by KZ. And Harry putting the feathers in. It's taking so much damage from that big stacked up wave though. And ultimately, mid lane goes into a bit of a freeze frame. Tyrex using the last corrupting charge as Thomas shoved him pretty heavily. There's just action everywhere already.
Yeah, and again, one, your very standard MNM game, it seems like, the split. They love to be messy. Two, just the lanes in general are so active, and see Kazuro trying to just make sure Tyrex gets this wave under. But it seems like Tomasko might just be able to freeze the lane, but he's so low he might not want to lose out on the HP, as DBL getting a nice aggressive trade in on the top side. And you can see Regan's really chunked out with no pot, so now he feels a little uncomfortable moving forward, particularly with King in the area on that crab. Meanwhile, Kazuro's in the top side, playing towards the priority lanes, both the junglers, quite well, but King's actually not going to opt into clearing his Krugs, whereas Kazuro on the top side looking for that gank. Aragon had to flash away. We're going to see if Harry's going to have to be forced to flash here too, and I think the answer is going to be yes, but
he's dead.
Drop. Yeah.
Beautiful flash into the dazzle, and King secures first blood.
Yeah, Harry just a little bit too far forward. You can see Regan paying his respects, but Harry not quite realizing that King's got the dash and the flash to make sure that dazzle connects. And first blood over to, I believe King picked up the kill credit, as we have the replay on our screens just to confirm that. As you see, the smoke screen forces the flash, dash forward into the flash to make sure that dazzle connects as easy as you like, as Kazuro
almost getting the seismic shove. The flash was used by Tomasko and Kazuro there. RX level 5 now on the Aurelia, as Aragon's getting bullied out by DBL really heavily. Does have a lot of sustain, especially with that Darkened Blade passive.
Yeah, but he's also down quite a bit of CS, and Kazuro's still out on this side of the map as he's not actually reset yet. While still being a camp up on King, but King does have that first blood in pocket, so it's not that bad, as we're just going to get a replay of that mid fight, and Tomasko just barely able to flash out of that gank. If he isn't able to, he may just end up losing his life. As we are just going to see that bottom side for MNM is going to actually slow stack back in. And Kazuro does have a downward path, though he hasn't actually reset yet. So I'm not quite sure if they're really going to be able to turn that into a dragon. They have pretty much permanent mid lane priority. Tomasko has to just consistently pay his respects to the all-in potential of the Irelia, as we actually have a couple of lag.
A little bit of lag. Hopefully it won't be too long before that gets sorted. We'll be back on the Rift as soon as possible. I mean, it wouldn't be an MNM game without something going wrong, right?
You know what? That's actually pretty true. It seems like every MNM game we get, though the trade-off is explosive action, we actually end up with a lot of pauses. Yesterday, obviously, not really to anyone's fault. But today, one of the players is lagging, so, you know, just get a better ISP. I don't know what to say. But is the issue with obviously running online. You can never really guarantee that these things won't pop up, but hopefully we'll have it fixed pretty soon.
Yeah, it did also get my pause alarm going off in the middle of that as well. People are setting things on fire, apparently, in my house. But yeah, we can take a look at the state of the game at the moment. It's a 200 gold lead. DBL has picked up a Executioner's Calling and a massive CS lead over Aragon. So Aragon's about to have a really, really rough laning phase. Equal farm in the bot lane. There is the assist gold on KZ, while Tomasko pretty low down in the mana, well, his mana's full. Pretty low down in the CS department at the moment. So we'll have to see how he's going to be able to handle this for the moment. Tyrex, like you say, constant lane pressure. And I think MNM need to make sure that they've got this mid pressure and they can do something with it.
Yeah, I think that's really important here. And one thing to note is that Kazuro's not actually managed to find a window to reset properly yet. So even though we've got a wave stacking in the bottom side currently for MNMA and this constant mid lane priority, I'm not actually sure they're going to be able to transition this into this early Infernal Dragon, especially when King is also pathing down into the area. So we're going to have to see whether or not they can make something happen around that dragon, you know, sort of in the next minute or so, because they are in a bit of a time with that wave. If they can't use it, then it's going to be sort of Barrage's go to see what they can make of a slow stacking wave if they opt for it. But yeah, pretty high-paced start to the game so far, which, like we've alluded to a lot, seems to be MNM style. And Barrage, honestly, doing a pretty good job, all things considered, of sort of weathering the storm, though they are definitely suffering in the solo lane CS department.
Yeah. You have to see how that's going. The pause is slowly but surely going down, so the ping issues are getting themselves slightly better when we get back into the game as soon as possible. But yeah, I mean, we've had a little bit of action, but I mean, we're only 5 minutes in. It's quite hard to kind of predict what the next few steps are going to be. I do want to talk a little bit about this jungle matchup because Graves now got a kill. Obviously, equal in farm, identical in farm at the moment, but you talked about this matchup, and if the Graves does start to get ahead, it can get a bit more rough for the Taliyah.
Yeah.
Is it early enough, or is this kill enough to kind of start to give him a stronger point now, or does he need to a little bit more? What are you expecting here?
It's such a interesting matchup to dissect because it can actually go either way, and it is more or less kind of a who has a deeper understanding of the matchup. Because even honestly, Taliyah to some degree can, on the flip side, try and get aggressive into Graves if she wants to, though it's not always the ideal thing to do. But with that kill in pocket for King, and the fact that he's, again, sort of going for this full clear down in a line, and the fact he's already taken a reset, tempo advantage is firmly in his control. So if he can somehow manage to salvage some of the lane states going on in his lanes, then he can try and make something happen and sort of force around Kazuro, but it can be difficult when you've got lanes that aren't necessarily going in your favor as the Graves, because you don't really have that much power unless it's just sort of the enemy team laners sort of fumbling in the lanes and sort of overextending.
Yeah. Looks like the pause issues are still ongoing at the moment, so we are still waiting to get a proper update on how long we think this will be, but for now, we are just stuck with me and Jamada nattering away. Yeah. Good job those earlier games were a little bit quicker, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, you know what?
Finest time.
They're really trying to put us back on schedule. It seems like.
Thanks, MNM.
Yeah, thanks, MNM. Appreciate it, guys.
It's actually Barrage's side of the issue.
It's actually, unironically, it's actually Barrage's side, but we're just saying it's probably the MNM curse.
Yeah. Of not being able to broadcast any of their games, apparently, for week 3.
Yeah, they're really aiming for it.
I do want to actually, while we got
we can.
Don't worry, pause is coming on, but I'll carry on this point. Yesterday we saw MNM lose early, and as soon as the cameras went off, they started just to really take over the game. This game's very different from that one, but it does show us that MNM are a team fighting team. This is how they like to play, and I think that's what we got to keep our eyes out for the side of Barrage. Is are they going to opt into MNM team fights? Because MNM have proven that they are actually a little bit better at team fighting than a lot of the other teams.
Yeah, that seems to have definitely been MNM's sort of identity. They've continued to build for themselves. Is they will honestly skill check you in these bigger team fights and skirmishes to a very high degree. So even if they do end up falling behind in lane, doesn't always seem to be an issue, as King is in the area. Could be waiting around for this Skull Crab, but doesn't look like they want to make much happen unless Harry overextends for these last couple of creeps, which seems like he's learned his lesson. King's going to take the reset, and Kazura is actually now on the bottom side, having spent his gold, so could see this turn into a dragon in the next couple of seconds, as I think this would be a little bit premature in terms of perfect coach setup, but I think it's going to be fine as okay. Let's see why Aatrox is so fun to play into. A matchup that can go either way, honestly. It's a very volatile one.
Yeah, I mean, he is playing into Renekton, so... nothing to add to that. It's two champions who aren't fun to play into, playing into each other.
I was waiting to see what you would add to that point. But yeah, it is just very much the two bruisers who traditionally don't scale all too well. Seem to be doing fine, as MNM really muscle manning forward because Tyrex is in the area. There you go.
Yeah, he has himself the Vanguard's Edge, looking for the Q resets onto the snare. KZ tries to jump away. Tyrex gets exhausted, but one last whatever his Q.
Whatever the ability is called, yeah, whatever the dash is called, it's really obnoxious. I'm sure the Observer, I think it's called Blaze Urge, and the Observer's gonna mock you and hover the ability.
Got it.
I'm getting to know the Observer really well, honestly. I feel like that was on its way. But yeah, just a really nice rotation coming out from MNM. It was the reset from Thomas Go, which allowed Tyrex to just get that shove down and rotate super early. Lands all of his abilities here. The stun sets up for the rest of the crew to take down KDO, whilst Tyrex pretty much just solos out KZ, even through the exhaust. No real threat of dying. And it's just a very clean dive.
Aragon got half health.
Yeah, whilst it was in that replay, Aragon got half health, but there's a very fun stat called Omnivamp, or Lifesteal, as some may call it, and also a refillable potion, so he's gonna be okay. As Regan actually opening out onto the top side of the map when the Herald spawned. Okay, there is a wave crashing back into, so if MNM want to make this Herald work, they've got to be fast, because if Barrage do decide to just drop the Herald, could just rotate down and dive Harry, but seems like for now, eyes away from the Herald. Regan wants to make it back down to that stacking wave. But still things you like to see from support players opening out onto the objective side of the map, as we're going to see a wall here. Ooh.
Kind of the expected outcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to be completely fair there.
If the wall was aimed a little further back, we could have actually seen Aragon bounce.
Oh, Harry.
Yeah.
That was a little bit close. He's able to walk away, but they are shoving the wave in. Aragon R and just sprint in the opposite direction.
Yeah, I laugh, but it was the correct decision. You don't want to be in range for a dash flash stun into Kazuro setup, so makes the right call. Very nice denial away on this wave, and this is honestly just a response of MNM assuming that Barrage are going to make a play on the bottom side, which they are now looking like they could do, but they're not really looking to pull any trigger. More or less looking for the jungle camps, as Regan be aggressive, but the damage from Harry is substantial. Okay. There we go.
Ah, yes, Renekton. The standstill button.
Yes.
Kazuro will be able to take this Rift Herald. They just don't have any of the lanes in the area that are in control. Mid's hard shoved in. We had a proxy farming Renekton. DBL's pretty chunked there, but like you said, Omnivamp and just sustain is a thing that this lane is really open. Cosmic Radiance is coming in. Harry's going to try and buy a bit of time. Regan's going to lose his life. Harry holding that R, trying to put those feathers down as late as possible, and nobody's going to get caught by them. Harry gets a chunk and the Blade Caller's used. Meanwhile, Aragon dodging away on a lot of the stuff coming into his face as the rocks are landing. Kazuro with one last threaded volley will be able to secure the kill as Aragon goes down. DBL teleported to make sure Harry doesn't get dove. And ultimately, it's a 1-for-1 globally, as DBL may just lose his life to the graves, though.
Yeah, Tyrex in the mid lane also went for a solo. Actually, whoa, bot lane.
Yeah.
Observer can't keep up. I don't blame him at all, as everyone felt like getting a bit frisky across the map, as DBL somehow managed to die to the, I imagine, what was a repeat dive.
Hopefully we have a replay of that, actually.
Yeah, do we? Hey, there we go. Okay, it's the replay of the original dive, yeah. So, honestly, not much Regan can do about that. No flash. He didn't quite seem to be in range of a headbutt to proc the aftershock, so he's not able to get those added resistances, so that's why he drops down real fast. And I'm not sure how Aragon ended up in this precarious position, but Kazuro just capitalizes on it. I could see a play mid. Do you have the wall available?
No flash as well. The gravity field's been used. Look for a seismic shove. Not going to quite hit.
Wow.
Tyrex looking for the stun. Takes a couple of tower shots and loses his life. A little bit too overeager there from MNM. Sloppy attempts and bad tower juggling will result in a 1-for-1 trade ultimately. And Regan's going to make sure Kazuro is able to shove this wave in. So at the core, at least they deny Thomas Go a wave, or at least a cannon.
Yeah. But it's going to go into the pocket of King, who probably doesn't mind, as he's already got his Gale Force finished up. Looking at the inventory, he's the only one to have his Mythic finished up immediately, but have to see Barrage posturing in the river for something, but I think MNM have numbers, though Harry could be out of position.
Well, Harry actually went for a flash there to reposition. The Void Seeker's going to land. Tyrex is teleported in, and the Dazzle not going to hit onto anybody, but MNM not going to go for a tower dive here. They're smarter than that. They're getting a teleport turned onto them, though. There's a flanking Tyrex. Wow. He's about to get ulti. Thomas could just find himself caught out. The stun's not going to quite connect, but Regan comes in. Gravity Field lands on sort of multiple members, and Kazero secures himself the kill. MNM finding a pick onto the mid, and will translate this into an Ocean Dragon.
Yeah, it looks like I was worried about the wrong solo lane. I saw the teleport into what looked like just about the whole team of MNM from Aragon.
Oh no, Aragon!
All right, well, maybe I was worried about the right solo lane. As not quite respecting. Yes, Regan being very aggressive there. But did he actually get a credit? I'm not too sure. Doesn't matter anyway. Aragon not respecting the fact.
Our observer's he's a beef burger enthusiast. That's all it is.
Ah, yeah. But off the back of this fight and skirmish, it's just got Regan. No. Very greedy. Very greedy from the support of MNM to not allow the mid jungle to soak up all that gold by themselves. But still positive gold trade nonetheless. Aragon just not respecting that this was previously MNM's strong side. There would be vision down. And pass back up to his demise as we've got gold hover. You can see major lead in the top side, almost 1,000 for DBL. Tyrex finds himself 1.2k up. Not too surprising after how the laning phase has gone. And that could be actually a little worse, obviously, because the 1-for-1 that occurred just before the dragon shenanigans. As I believe we are going to have a replay of this fight. And yeah, I mean, honestly, Aragon very fortunate to not get punished by this because Tyrex has full eyes on Thomas Go, who is just in no man's land in reality. And that pick just results straight into that transition to the dragon. And Aragon, I mean, he was resetting, so I don't know what possessed him to stop. As Aragon was probably dead, but Regan just decided to commit the flash headbutt pole combo nonetheless. And for now, we are going to have a lead for red team as King looked to slip his way into the bottom side of this lane, but the ward is cleared away. Opts for the reset nonetheless. Ooh, Aragon.
I mean, if they do the wall thing here, there's an expected outcome. Flash has now been used because there is not. Oh, he's going to hit it.
Okay. He's a Talia player. Oh, hello.
Harry getting jumped onto. Has to use the Feather Storm, has the Gale Force to reposition, gets the snare, not underneath the tower. The Cosmic Radiance is coming down, and Harry trying to make a grand escape, but the Dazzle will secure the kill as Regan makes his way in, pulverizes KDO for the kill. That's so tragic. Regan!
Oh my god!
Kill!
What a madman, Regan. Okay, and I mean, just can we give him MVP now? If he even if MNM lose, because that was a pretty sick setup right there from the supporters. Wow, DBL's feeling himself on this dive.
Yeah, Aragon's also feeling it.
Oh!
Just an absolute fumble. Thomas is coming in. Thomas doesn's have the flash. DBL's trying to make a grand escape. The laser beam not going to hit. And I think this should just be enough for DBL to get away. Oh, my lord.
Wow. I mean, Regan just full Ultra Instinct mode, recognizing the correct targets to hit. As KZ, I mean, I hope you get a replay of that because I kind of want to break it down a little. But okay.
Regan gets himself dazzled, gets himself gravity fielded. He puts the ultimate to keep himself alive for the moment, and collateral damage not going to do enough. Regan is feeling himself right now.
Man. And this is kind of why we saw the fresh band away, because this man, at core, he's a playmaker. But you give him the Alistar and you kind of end up with the same result anyway. Back end of all of these crazy plays, I'm getting word that we do have a replay. I imagine it's just going to be about when we can actually slip the replay in.
Here it is.
Which I believe it's now. So you can see the dive comes forward from Barrage. And honestly, it's pretty good execution. They know Harry is alone right now. The Voitica does miss, which means they have to commit a little further forward. And that's how they end up in this position. So KZ tanks one tower, but the angle from Regan just allows him to headbutt the support of Barrage back in. He's got the ignite. I love the little zoom in too.
I mean,
and it's just enough damage to tick him down, and DBL feeling himself on the dive, but the healing is still there even through the grievous wounds to keep Aragon healthy enough to not drop. And if Thomas goes any faster,
horse goes neigh, the cow goes double kill.
Cow goes double kill. There you go. As MNM finally getting into this 1-3-1 formation with Tyrex in the bottom side full priority. Uh-oh. Okay.
Seismic shot's not going to hit. Regan is a mad lad. And he's shut down. Bit too mad.
He deserves to die. As yeah, just a little over eager. Now we're gonna have to see if there's any repercussions for this, because MNM had pretty good setup on this dragon, and Barrage still have a lot of vision to trudge through all the even after all of these shenanigans. KDO and King looking to force priority into this river once KZ gets that wave in. MNM, I don't know. This is
looking
risky.
For it. They put the wall up to try and break them up for the moment. Aragon
Tyrex has a flank
over the wall here. Tyrex is actually isolated away from the team. Aragon's doing his work. Tyrex slides in forward, unable to get it. The Cosmic Radiance is there. DPL's onto that back line. Thomas isolated, can't actually get away. Are pulled back, and MNM are just walking through Barrage. KZ jumps over the wall. Regan's not going to go for the double kill this time, because Zero will chase down the Tarek. Dazzle gonna go wide. The Unraveled Earth also going wide, but the threaded volleys will eventually find their man, and Zero gets the kill. A 3-0 in favor of MNM.
Yeah, and MNM just wipe the floor with that fight. They don't manage to pick up the Mountain Dragon, so that is the silver lining for Barrage. It means they are going to delay the soul, but I mean, the damage is realistically already done. You can see now the response off the back of that fight is going to be the Rift Herald, and honestly, one more bad fight with a Rift Herald in pocket can result in pretty large map control gains here, as it is going to take a while to actually get this Herald down, but it is going to be in the back pocket of MNM nonetheless. And we are finally going to get a replay of the last two fights. So this is just Regan. I mean, look, buddy, because I know you're going to listen back to the cast. I've got a lot of love for you, but this is just... You gotta rein it in, man.
If you're AP Alistair, that kind of plays okay. You're not AP Alistair.
Yeah, and here, I mean, it's a nice attempt from Tyrex to attempt to steal the dragon, recognizing Kazura is going to be too far out. But look at the healing from DVL, the Gordrink of the Colder Meek. And then Regan finds his way back in. The Featherstorm layered on top is just so much damage on the front line, as you just see poor KDO run down by the threaded volleys. And for now, oh wait a minute, is Regan's model a little bit lifted, or is he a little bit too high in the sky? Can you see that, Hipbrain?
It looks right. All right, Regan, stand still. Press F.
Stop moving. Hit S. No, he's definitely floating, right?
I think he is.
He definitely looks like, obviously
Regan
the Alistar model.
He's ascended. Someone play the Halo music.
Oh no. I was so tempted to hum it there, but we are going to just see the Herald.
I want you to sing it. I don't want you to hum it.
You know, I've been playing Halo recently. Just wild fun fact. Such a fun franchise to go back to. But we are going to see the Herald drop out. Oh, KDO nearly gets clipped by the seismic shove. As going to try and get this Herald shoved into the inhibitor tower, and the answer is going to be yes, they do. And it's immediate. Ooh.
Nice wall, actually, just to split off the team. This means his tier 2 will go down, because it takes a lot of damage. Yeah. Blind comes in from King, but the tower ultimately will fall from the attack speed steroid Harry he gets. There we go, I can say words. And MNM got themselves 2 turrets for free there. Really, really nice stuff from them. And a charge onto the bot lane inhibitor tower, which is big. Very, very chunked out. And Gordrinker Renekton with a 60 CS lead could show up down there at any point and finish up that tower for MNM.
Oh, that's such a cute recall for the Xayah skin, actually. You see that? The little podium came up, all the flowers and stuff. I imagine that Rakan sits on the other side of the podium during that recall.
Yes, I would assume so. Yeah. I love that Elderwood skin for Xayah.
Yeah, it's really cool. But something to note, we've been focused on all of the action. The gold lead has silently, but in a way also explosively tilted well into the favor of MNM. A here, almost, what, 7,000 gold in the lead. As down at the bottom, gold lead's pretty much across the board for everybody on the MNM side. Barrage been suffering to these skirmishes. MNM finding the success with these 2 solo lane pickups that Barrage weren't able to find in week 1. Getting in some nice flanks. And you can see the power of the pick. In this case, though, is of course paired up with the Talia, which is a much better setup jungler.
Yeah.
As Aragon is being forced way, way back.
I would also like to take a moment just to appreciate Tyrex. This week has had a Fizz game and has had an Aurelia.
Not really a game, yeah.
He didn't die on Fizz. I think it was like a 6-0-5 scoreline at the end of yesterday.
Yeah, something along those lines.
It was impressive. And honestly, 1 death on the Aurelia, 3-1-2 right now. Just really, really good stuff here from Tyrex. I mean, really impressed with him this week. And I think what I've been impressed about was kind of what I was talking about was maybe shake things up.
Yeah.
Don't play just towards the meta. Because a lot of these teams would have been practicing versus meta picks.
Yeah.
They're probably not that practiced against Aurelia mid in the current state, and especially like Victor versus Aurelia mid.
Yeah. And it honestly just seems to be something MNM as a team are really comfortable at doing. And I also have to say, this is a champion too that Thomas Go knows how to play, and he's played here in the UKLC already. So really kind of throwing down the gauntlet in that sense of, you know, both these players know both sides of the matchup quite well. Yeah. And we kind of focus on the game a little bit as this third mountain does spawn up. If there is a way for all right, well, MNM don't want me to talk about the game. Apparently is.
Yeah, just get into mid quicker.
Yeah, just get into mid quicker. As yeah, if there is a way for Barrage to actually come back into this game, realistically, they kind of just have to weather the storm. But with this big of a gold lead, it just seems like a near Herculean task. Especially with the kind of team composition MNM are running. With a lead this big, it just feels like they're just going to bear down on you. Team fight after team fight. But there is still hope. There is a lot of scaling in this Barrage draft, but the gold lead creeps further and further in the favor of red team. They could maybe make a pick onto Tyrex here if he shows a little too far up the lane, but honestly, that's a scary gambit. If I'm honest with you, I wouldn't like to be on the Barrage side of things trying to pick up Aurelia there. And we temporarily return to what feels like regular UKLC scheduling, where
your scheduled broadcast has returned, where not a lot happens until dragons spawn.
Yeah, but I feel like someone's gonna buck that trend very soon. Someone is very much just gonna throw that out the window.
It looks like it's MNM.
It looks like it might be MNM. They will start Baron potentially, though. Okay.
They're getting vision first. I respect that. They were seen starting it, though. The vision toggle, really nice stuff there. Although, it is going down fairly quick, and DBL's got a flanking position. Same for Regan. They're going to spot them out with a Void Seeker. They're continuing to keep this going. Tyrex is actually keeping it aggro. Now it's going to despawn. Regan flashes, goes for the pole, and Thomas has to use the stopwatch, but he will lose his life any second now. Flashes over as the Cosmic Ray keeps him alive. Aragon actually pulls members in. Everybody is so low. DBL goes out one for the moment, and MNM are just scrapping. The wall breaks the fight up for the moment, but King looking for Aragon, looking for Harry with the help of Aragon. A massive flash. Harry pulls the blades in and gets himself a little bit more. Kazero now getting jumped onto by KZ. DBL remaining on that flank as KDO gets snared up once again by the blade cooler. DBL takes down Aragon, and the burns are real. Kazero gets the kill, and MNM take out 4.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, that fight started out not looking too great for MNM, in all honesty, because Aragon does so much work in that choke. But at the end of the day, your main man, Harry, does not drop. He's got those 2 items in inventory. He just pulls through with all of the work. And that Void Seeker's not enough to steal away that Baron. It is going to end up in MNM hands. Regan dies so early on in that fight that he respawns and gets the Baron anyway. I believe he died anyway. We're going to get a replay. And you can see MNM actually make the call to turn onto Thomas Go, and they don't manage to burn him down in the duration of the CC. And it's actually a bit of a miscommunication. Headbutt out of the seismic shove means Thomas Go is allowed to get out. And you see the mountain map actually paying MNM a bit of pain here. They have to funnel into that small choke. It means Aragon gets some nice sweet spots, and they overcommit. And it's King with the double kill, but that wall separates KDO and KZ away from the fight. And you can see a real nice blade caller from Harry kills King. And I mean, Aragon not paying enough respect to us. KD said does his best to try and take down Kazero, but it's really not enough. And man, what an explosive back and forth fight. I mean, honestly, a few hundred HP is the difference, and Barrage could have ended up winning that fight, could have ended up taking the Baron down, but again, MNM pull through on these scrappy fights. It just seems to be their thing. They don't lose out on these kind of game states where everything is just real messy. Kazero could be in some trouble though. Have to see. Oh,
going to go wide. Actually does get hit by the Void Seeker, and KZ will look for him. The shutdown is there. The cost is what, really, for the moment? MNM not going to take this inhibitor. That tower had been taken earlier. Tower will fall in the top side to DBL and his siege, but there's still some pretty big waves shoving in here bot side, and laser beams from Thomas actually isn't really doing enough. That is just going to be it. Losing their jungler may just cost any more of this Baron siege for the moment.
Yeah, still about 60 seconds, but the key thing is that it eclipses the Mountain Soul spawn, which is in about 25 seconds. So MNM just going to quickly take some resets where they can. It does mean they might actually yield some vision here, because honestly, actually MNM kind of caught their pants down. Potentially. If Barrage can get into the mid lane quickly and force priority and walk back in, could be really, really good for this fight setup. But the Baron buff, the Baron up minions are too hard for Barrage to actually get the wave in. So MNM not really losing much in the mid lane. Barrage already on this dragon, and Kazura's a while away, but Tyrex has a flank potentially.
They got the wall coming in. They need to look for King, but they've got the Cosmic Radiance to make sure this dragon is secure. But the fight is on, and MNM are melting.
Oh!
The feathers out for the moment. Regan trying to buy a bit of space for his team, but MNM suddenly just turn it around. You take your eyes off the fight for a minute, and MNM change the state and get themselves yet another team fight victory. 4 members of Barrage fall, and DBL TPs into the top side.
Yeah, he's looking to open up the base. He's not quite going to be able to get the inhibitor because Thomas Go is here. But I mean, DBL really feeling himself. Yeah, Thomas Go might not be there, but you see the core of MNM in that mid lane trying to crack open the base. I mean, they have the bottom lane inhibitor to work with too. It seems like the call might just be to take this top side inhibitor. They've got a lot of time to work with. They could just end up taking all 3 inhibitors, though I think 2 would be the safer bet for now. But again, another silver lining for Barrage. They delay that soul. They managed to pick up the dragon because Kazura had to get out of the base. Real back and forth stuff, but you feel like, honestly, the way these fights are going, even if they start out so positive looking for Barrage, it's just never really ending up in their favor, the end result of the fights. And I don't know if it's really, like, credit to MNM. The gold lead is that big. It's just like, okay, they're just slapping them with their wallets at this point, irregardless of how good the fights start out. But you can still credit them for getting to this point, and Barrage for not quite crumbling under the pressure, but you feel like critical mass in this game has already been hit. So if scaling does come into effect, as if we could get the gold toggle off, I want to see how these items are coming in for Barrage. Aragon is still a whiles away from a second item, most likely. You have 2 items in for King, likely going to be that Infinity Edge third, so he is going to be dealing the damage. Whereas Thomas Go on his way to what looks like finishing up that Archangel staff. KZ is free item, so I mean, realistically, Barrage are online right now. But you look at the inventory of MNM and just the general KDO, the general sort of gold lead, and you can just see the difference, honestly, is the inventory of DBL. As the fight HUD comes up. Seems like this could be it, Jake.
This could just be that final siege. The Barrage aren't giving them the opportunity yet, but the waves are going to push in, and someone needs to go deal with that. They've only got their jungler off. Harry, every little auto is just a step closer to taking down this third and final inhibitor tower. Third and final inhibitor. Another wave's crashing in, and inhib way too low. Looking for a forced engagement, not going to be able to find it. Flawless duets in, and this is the engage. Here comes KDO, gets a massive stun off into the Chaos Storm. MNM just flashing out, everything being thrown down. Kazira has to go golden for the moment as he looks for the shove back onto KZ. MNM still looking for the fight for the moment, though. Kazira buying so much time with the double stopwatch, almost taking out KZ, is shut down in the tail end, and MNM, by a miracle, only lose 1.
Yeah, what a massive engage there from KDO with that Dazzle fighting 4 members. And I mean, again, right? This is what I was talking about. The Barrage composition does scale, but they've just been, honestly, put in the dirt so far down with the gold deficit. And there's a lot of blue pings onto this Baron, but I mean, you can see the return pings. All the supers spawning up. I mean, the Baron's got what? I mean, it's spawning now. I think this would be a bit audacious, all things considered, but there's no ultimates available on the side of MNM. None, either for Barrage either, but working off the numbers advantage. It's a good flip. It's a good flip. I thumbs this up.
Zero will be there fairly quick, remember. Does have his ulti up when he spawns. MNM looking just to run interrupt. Look for Regan. Everybody is grouped. A headbutt pole could be massive here. Jumping forward. Pops the ultimate to keep himself going for the moment as he breaks the chains. Baron remains started up. They look for the snares, and Thomas goes on zoning duty. Big gravity field. Regan can't quite join in here.
Kizero's on his way.
Here comes Kizero. He's in the pit. Can't find the steal, but now they're looking for the wide. Aragon has to pop ult to get away, and King will lose his life. The headbutt pole secures MNM a second kill, and the teleports into the base are coming down. They're looking for Tyrese to close the game out. He has got one dealing with him for the moment, and Regan just being a nuisance. Lands himself the ulti, lands himself the stun, trying to sustain up for the moment as Kaz is able to take him down. Big shield from the ultimate, but the towers are down. The Nexus is open, and KDO is getting chased onto the feathers, doing too much work, and the Cosmic Radius will not pop in time. Harry actually able to get away for the moment as Thomas goes looking for the flash. Great ultimate to keep himself alive as Thomas uses the stopwatch. The minions are working their way towards this Nexus, and it's a double kill for Harry. MNM, what a win!
Man, and I mean, look, I think it's really easy to sit here and praise MNM, but I really want to shine a little bit of spotlight before we talk about how MNM actually won this game on Barrage, because honestly, they held out, they held true, they almost made something of nothing on that final fight. Getting that Baron, it could have been big, but they got wiped, and that was kind of the deciding factor. If they got that Baron, they could have maybe held out on those double supers, but there's just too much going on for the MNM side. The Soul, too much of a gold lead. DBL just had 3 items over Aragon, and just in general, the fights were just played out. And like we said, MNM just seemed to be the team that will mechanics check you in these skirmishes, and that's what we saw here today again.
MNM are looking like probably one of the best team fighting teams in the league.
Yeah,
Honestly,
I think it's safe to say
everything else can be a little shaky, but that game showed us that they just like to scrap, and no one else can scrap quite like MNM can. Guys, we're going to throw to a quick break, and when we're back, we're going to have a little bit of an interview, and Jamada is going to go all drawery on you. I forgot the name of the guy from Smart. See you in a second. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the UKLC, where we just had an MNM victory over Barrage. We actually have DBL standing by for an interview. So, DBL, hello.
Hello.
Hey, how are you feeling after that win then? You were pretty close to Barrage in the standings so far, and you just completely out-team fought them. I think that's the best way to describe it.
I mean, yeah, I think that's what we found as our style right now. Like, that's what we like to do. We just like brawling and killing people. So, I mean, that's what we're, at least for now, what we're trying to stick with, because it's what's working for us.
Yeah, I like that. Identity is always important, I think, in the UKLC, but I'm going to ask you a bit of a spicy question. Of course, making your way onto MNM, your predecessor was, of course, Aragon, who you laned versus today. How did you find that matchup? Of course, I know you guys are also kind of good friends off the rift too.
I mean, honestly, I thought, like, in draft, I thought if they don't ban Renekton here, they're inting so hard. Because it was a perfect pick for our team comp. Yeah. And, like, I don't understand how he's supposed to play against Renekton Talia as someone like Aatrox. So I thought as a Renekton player, he would respect it, but he didn't. Which I think was a big mistake from him. But in terms of the actual lane, it was fairly relaxed, but I think there was a big diffy in the jungle up in the top lane, so it's kind of hard for him to play, to be honest.
Yeah.
So ultimately, we're now kind of getting a bit further on into the tournament. I want to talk about some of the teams at the top and who you think are going to be the biggest challenges for you to overcome. What teams are you kind of keeping your eyes on at the moment?
Honestly, apart from Resolve, no one. I mean, Envision are joint. Actually, I don't think they're joint anymore because they lost, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they lost that last game.
So we're sole second now, but apart from Resolve, I don't really care about any other team, if I'm going to be completely honest, because I think we can beat them all. And even Resolve we can beat, and I feel like we should have beat the first time. But it's still going to be, I mean, if you just look on paper, the players on that team are still going to be our toughest challenge. So that's who I'm looking out for.
You actually, as of today, pulled ahead of Envision because they lost both their games this week.
Yeah.
And you guys won both of yours. So you actually pulled ahead of Envision on that one. So good job on that. Congratulations on the win, DBL. Hopefully we get to speak to you again soon. We're going to leave it there. And, well, good luck next week, I guess.
Yeah. Thanks. Bye.
All right, Jamada. Let's get you to start showing off what you learned in GCSE art, shall we?
Just pull the drawing board up. I don't want to see his face for now. All right, so at the moment, state of the map, we have DBL in the mid lane. We've got this not so audacious start from the MNM core onto the Baron. Can definitely be burned down pretty fast by Xayah and Talia. And at the moment, we have Regan kind of sitting in what I believe is fog, because this control ward should not actually spot him out. So he's looking for a flank if Barrage do commit either through this angle or just in through here. And then he can find his way into the fight either through flashing or just honestly finding a good rotation in. So get the Baron started up, and MNM recognized that Barrage are actually coming in at multiple different angles because we have Thomas Go completely isolated. I'm pretty sure that they've seen KDO, they've seen all of the members basically approach in actually. So they have perfect information on where everybody is. They can see Aragon on the bottom side of your map here on the bottom side wave. So they have perfect information of where everyone is, and they make the call to actually turn off very soon. As soon as Thomas Go steps a little too far forward, Regan, man on a mission, flashes forward, pulverizes. Now, this is where things get a little bit sticky for MNM because there's a slight miscommunication because Zura actually casts his seismic shove, and I think I can get a slight play. Oh, look at this. Headbutt backwards means that seismic shove actually misses out, and Thomas Go doesn't get burst through all of the unraveled earth, and it actually means he's allowed to go into stopwatch. And this is a pretty big deal because Thomas Go now is going to have the cosmic radiance come down on him, and he's going to get the invulnerability. And Aragon actually TPs here, but he's not focused down, and he's able to pop the World Ender and walk back towards his team. And now this is where things go almost wrong for MNM because they've committed into this choke. Now, this choke typically wouldn't exist, but we're actually on the mountain map. So it means that we've got one choke here and one choke here. Now, the MNM side just tried to commit for Thomas Go, but they weren't actually able to get him. And one thing that seems to be a tendency for this team is they will overreach a little bit for some of these fights. And we're going to see just that here as they try and commit slightly further forward onto King, and Aragon just lets loose with the Darkin Blade and actually isn't quite able to take down Tyrix initially, but he does drop. And on the other side of the fight, Thomas Go does eventually die because DBL finds a flank angle. And this is a really brilliant wall to split up the bottom side of Barrage as Aragon and King dive forward, but they're not respecting the feathers, and the feathers come down. King dies. Aragorn has to get away and out of the fight. Gazura buys enough time with the stopwatch. And all in all, you can kind of just see all of the intricacies of every single team fight. I could have brought up any single team fight and gone this in-depth about any fight. Really back and forth stuff. At the end of the day, MNM still come out ahead. And it's just really impressive.
I think, yeah, the overreaching and the over-eagerness was the downfall of Barrage in that game, unfortunately, for them. Now, with that, MNM were able to get themselves another 2-0 week. Actually, I think that's their first 2-0 week. I can't remember.
They got 2-0
week here.
They got 2-0 week. Hey, there you go.
We're going to throw a quick break, and when we're back, we'll be back with our fourth and final game, which would be Bulldog versus Resolve. Now, this one is actually going to be a spicy one, so we'll see you for that in a second.